Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 640 for the 25th of November. And this SITREP is brought to you by DPA Open Mic. So just now we have, just before this recording, maybe like 5-6 hours, 8 hours ago, we just finished our this week's session of the DPA Open Mic. You can see episode 54. And so you can actually, if you have never watched it before, I will highly recommend you to check it out. We have very good discussion this time round, and you can see that we have a lot of fun discussing stuff, current events and war, Ukraine war, Israel and everything, and very very happening. And topics that we have talked about include, Israel-Hamas conflict, geopolitical issues, global power dynamics, Ukraine and Russia, and European Union, the challenges that that they are facing, Middle East, global politics, and phenomena in geopolitics. So do check it out, and let's get back to the SITREP. So over at the southern front, at the Kherson region, the Russian forces continue their push to drive the Ukrainian forces out of Krinky. And even Deep State UA have acknowledged that the Russians are dropping a lot of airstrikes and artillery shells on the Ukrainian forces that is currently holding Krinky. Currently, the Ukrainian forces are still in the town. They're still not driven out of it yet. So although it would be difficult for them to run away as well, because they are basically on the beachhead or the bridgehead, they can't really get out of it. So and then there is a geolocation which I find a bit interesting. So over at this location in the middle of nowhere, north in the area pretty close to Krinky, basically is about 20 kilometers away. So there is Ukrainian artillery that is actually situated over there. They got discovered by the Russians, and the Russians sent Lancet suicide drones at it. And this is captured on video and geolocated by military summary. So it does shows that the Lancets are now also in action over at this front line. And this is going to spell a lot of problems for the Ukrainians, because the Ukrainians have been successfully able to continue to maintain their presence over at Krinky, because they have a very good mortar and artillery support hitting Russian positions, and aiding the Ukrainian forces to push out from their position. But if the Russians are deploying more and more Lancers and FPV drones to hunt for all these things, although I don't think FPV drones can fly 20 kilometers, but maybe I'm wrong. But the Lancers are able to hunt for all these artillery, and if there's no more artillery support, this Ukrainian bridgehead might be doomed. So we move on over from the Kherson Front into the Zaporizhzhia Front. So this is Zaporizhzhia city, and this is the Zaporizhzhia Front over at Velika Novosilka sector, Ohuyaipole sector, Orikhiv sector, and the Kayamsky sector. And over at the Orikhiv sector, so this is Orikhiv, and we have information of the Ukrainians continue to push over in the area of Robotine south towards Novoprokopivka. And the Russians, on the other hand, they are pushing Robotine. So you can see the situation is a bit unusual, it's a bit weird. The fighting towards Novoprokopivka was reported by the Russian Defense Ministry and Deep State UA. Fighting is in the north of Novoprokopivka. Whereas the Ukrainian Defense Ministry and the Russian Defense Ministry both reported about Russian attacks against Ukrainian forces over at Robotine. Most likely it's going to be from the west of Robotine. The Russians are most likely pushing in this direction against the Ukrainians that is holding up this defensive line. It seems like this is the maximum buffer zone that the Ukrainians can acquire tentatively to protect the town of or the very flattened town of Robotine. So this, and they hold this position so that they can continue to push south towards Novoprokopivka, which I feel is some kind of a fool's errand, because this is not enough. This front line is merely 1 to 2 kilometers. Is not enough. They need more buffer. So there is a geolocation of Ukrainian forces getting bombarded over in the southern part of Robotine. So that's about it over at the Orikhiv sector. So doesn't feel like a lot, because the fighting has really died down by quite a bit. The Ukrainians have a lot quite limited capabilities at this moment. Although I look at some of the Ukrainian statements, especially I see from Deep State UA, Deep State was saying that there's more and more Russian soldiers surrendering. The morale is very poor. So, and then but it's nothing to be excited about yet or whatnot. I'm like, maybe they are right. Maybe that Russian soldiers indeed stupid enough to surrender. But of course, if they are surrounded and they failed their mission, then yeah. But there is indeed footages of showing that the Ukrainian forces do successfully take out Russian soldiers through FPV drones or artillery strikes. So that is still true. People still die, even though I feel that the Russians are on the ascendance. But it's still a war, people still die in the course of war. The Ukrainians are not sitting there and doing nothing. So over at the Velika Novosibirsk sector, over this location, the Ukrainian forces were attacking Prione. And then there was this weird report. So let's talk about Prione first. The Russian Defense Ministry mentioned about the repelling Ukrainian attack at Prione. Then we talk about Staromayorsky. There is this weird report from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. They mentioned the Russian conducted unsuccessful assault south of Zolotaneva and east of Staromayorsky. This is Staromayorsky. East of Staromayorsky is basically Uruzhany. I'm not sure what it's supposed to mean. Is it that the Russians were attacking specifically along the Mokryali River, so that this is east of Staromayorsky? I have no idea. And they actually doubled down on this east of Staromayorsky in their morning report as well. So initially I mapped this based on the their evening report. Then the following morning's report, they still say the same thing. So I'm kind of confused. I believe it should be west of Staromayorsky rather than east. So weird. So anyway, moving on to, over at this Donetsk Front. This is the Donetsk Front. Just now, as you heard, the Russians were attacking in the area of Zolotaneva. We don't have much more information other than that one sentence from the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So that's about it for that. Over at the Voleda region, this is Voleda city. This is Mykolaiv. There is reports from the Russian Defense Ministry that they are attacking and the Ukrainians are also attacking. So the Ukrainians attacking, the Russians are also attacking. I also not sure which one came first. So there is they attack each other over around the region of Mykolaiv. So maybe one tree line, the other one to another tree line, and both are attacking. That also could be possible. We move on over to the Novomikhailivka region. The Ukrainian Defense Ministry reported that the Russians continue their assault over in the area of Novomikhailivka. Probably in the south, the Russians are still pushing, and this attack has been a continuous attack since 20th. And so before that, there's 19. So actually, this is actually, yeah, it should be actually 8 all the way to 25. So it should be like this. It should be 8 to 25 of November. Yeah, this is more accurate. So yeah, so the fighting over at Novomikhailivka have been ongoing for a long time. This is becoming a lot akin to what is happening over at Marinka, which is also seeing endless battles over here, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministries. But we don't have much details to update regarding this area here. We move into the Avdiivka Front. This is the Avdiivka Front, and at the Avdiivka Front, the Russian forces continue their primary offensive in this current juncture, which is the Avdiivka offensive. We're fighting this time around reported south of Novokalinove towards Stepove, towards the coke plant, towards the west of the coke plant. In the south at Avdiivka, the Russian forces captured the industrial zone fully. The Ukrainian forces have withdrawn. There is footages proving that. Fighting north of Vodian, and at Vodian, also at Pervomaisky. So this is the general strategic picture with Ukrainian forces sending reinforcement into Avdiivka. So so the performance here is reported by the Ukrainian and deep state UA. This is, you can take this with a pinch of salt, because this is an earlier report, and then the next post the deep state UA mentioned that it's north of Vodian. So no, but I just gonna map it in this way and see how this goes. So over at this industrial zone over here, as we've seen a lot of action in this area here, including the crazy lone tank, the Russian forces have seemingly, most likely, successfully captured the entire of this industrial zone, with drone footage showing the Ukrainian forces running out. They retreat on foot out of this area here, and they are running through the town, the village, or town to the northwest of this industrial zone. And that shows that the Ukrainian forces have totally withdrawn. And from the look of it, the Ukrainian forces is going to hold some positions much deeper into the town, into this southeastern district of Avdiivka, because the way how they run, it doesn't look like they are holding any positions around here. It looks like they are holding some positions further away. So we are likely to see the Russian push in this area here with some ease before they meet some resistance. Because there shouldn't be heavy entrenchments around this area here, because the most heavy entrenchment the Ukrainians have is actually all along this area here. So with this area taken by the Russians, then yeah, behind will be much softer. And according to Ryba, the pro-Russian source mapped massive progress around this region here, north of Opine and Vodian, with the Russian forces seemingly have captured this entire long tree lines and get really close again to the 9th district, or the Khimik district, north of Opine, which actually means that they have defeated the Ukrainian progress that previously saw them attack all the way to the edge of Opine. Maybe they are now getting pushed out again, but we can't be sure, because this is just one-sided report. Only the Ryba is talking about this, given the way how they map. This mapping is very aggressive, because if this is true, the Russian forces is just one step away from getting into Avdiivka city proper, and pretty much close to the center of the city. The distance between this tree line is to the city itself is just 1 kilometers. We shall continue to monitor. The last time the rumors of Russian forces in this position entering into the Khimik district seems to be pretty dubious, because it cannot be corroborated, and then the whole thing just disappeared after that. It was retracted, or it's like the Ukrainian forces counterattack. We're not sure what is the exact story from the Russian side, so it could be fake information. So we shall continue to monitor and see if this is actually legitimate, because this much progress suddenly is a bit weird. If you think about it, this battle took like a few weeks, or 2 weeks at least. Then suddenly this push come out of nowhere. A bit hard to believe. Ryba also reported that Ukrainian forces have sent reinforcement. They have the 45th separate rifle was transferred to the 31st mechanized, and then they also sent in the 116th mechanized brigade. So there is some reinforcement that comes into this area here, although they also claim that the command in this area here has withdrawn out of Avdiivka. So the main command has gone out. So because maybe they don't feel very safe inside Avdiivka. So let's see, because take this kind of information with a pinch of salt. Over at this coke plant region, the Russian forces have apparently successfully captured this wastewater processing plant, and they have pushed along from the volcano region, and they have lined up the front line along the railway station, straightened the line, and they also captured 2 of these crossing around this area here. So there's these 2 crossings along this water body around here. Previously, the Russian forces have been attacking probably around this area Surya Maps did map about the Russians capturing this position. So we have reported about this fighting south towards this facility. So with the Russian forces have this volcano, it is possible that that this push is just sensible, and they straighten the front line along the railway line. So this is happening, and I believe that the Russians will be able to push south along the water body with minimal problems. I don't think the Ukrainian forces want to hold this position because I think it's gonna be quite suicidal to stay there. But who knows? No, it is the Ukrainian forces. And for the coke plant itself, the Deep State UA reported that there was an attack out of the into the Avdiivka coke plant at least once. So there is probably some kind of raid, and then just to test the water. And then there is geolocation of some armored vehicle driving along this road here. So it shows that the Ukrainian forces definitely is still over there. And further up north, fighting at Stepove, according to Ryba, Deep State UA, Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So a lot of corroboration about the Russians pushing Stepove right now, and also the fighting towards Novokalinove, south of Novokalinove. And this is actually reported by the Ukrainian side and Ryba as well. So this Novokalinove, the Russians are pushing in this direction. So a lot of actions over at Avdiivka. We shall continue to monitor and see what is next. Although if you by the sentiments from mostly pro-Russian sources, because Ukrainians don't talk a lot, but with some minimal information from the Ukrainian side, it does feel like the Ukrainians defenses, or the position, the situation for the Ukrainians at Avdiivka is really poor, is really bad. So we might see an acceleration, or maybe we don't. We shall see how this goes of this progress at the battle over there. There's nothing over at the New York front. The entire Ukrainian push over at Pivdeny and Sumy is entirely gone, I think. So we move on into the Bakhmut front. This is Bakhmut city, and this is the southern part of the Bakhmut front. In the southern part of the Bakhmut front, the Russian forces are continuing their offensive, with fighting reported at Kudyumivka, Andriivka, Klishevka, and towards Ivanivsky. So of significance is the push towards Ivanivsky. So according to Deep State UA, they say that the Russian forces are pushing along the highway from Bakhmut towards Ivanivsky, which means that the Russians are making this push from Bakhmut along the highway towards Ivanivsky. We shall see how this goes. This Deep State UA is the only one talked about this. And there is no footages, drone footage or whatnot coming out from this area here. The closest is actually this one. This is geolocated by Chris 759. There is a footage of FPV drones hitting Ukrainian foxhole or defensive position at this location. So we shall see. This is a very unique direction of attack. We never see the Wagner forces during the heyday of the Prigozhin's era pushing along this highway towards Ivanivsky. We have never seen that happen. So this is very uniquely Russian defense forces, or Russian Defense Ministry's forces. We shall see how this progress. And while this is happening, or while the Russians are pushing along the highway towards Ivanivsky, they are also pushing Kromove. They are attacking Kromove as well. So Kromove is still under Ukrainian control, surprisingly. So the Russians probably is going to take this. Yeah, it's going to be very interesting how this battle is going to progress. Fighting was also reported at Bodanivka. I'm not sure in which direction. Is it from the north, or is it from the east? There is geolocation, however, of Ukrainian forces defensive position over this location getting shelled by the Russians. But this also means that the Ukrainian forces have a position around here, so forcing our previous front line that was here to be pushed back to at least somewhere around here. So this is a situation over at Bodanivka. So the Russian forces are pushing Bodanivka and then Kromove and towards Ivanivsky. So this is, yeah, very interesting. We shall see how this goes, and whether the Russians are really determined to do all these things. And further up north, all the way to the southern end of the Siversk Front. So this is Siversk city. This is the Siversk Front. At the southern part of the Siversk Front, the Russian forces are attacking Vasyukivka and Rozdolivka. Information comes from the Russian Defense Ministry. Very interestingly, it's more like the fire mission is not really an assault. We shall see how this goes. And a geolocation of Ukrainian forces at Fedorivka was geolocated by military summary, getting hit by, I think, a drone. I believe no, it's a so this is actually geolocation of the Russian Defense Ministry's footage. The Russian forces use a Olan drone, which is actually a surveillance drone, to detect where's the Ukrainian forces, and then the Olan drone provide information and targeting geolocation to the artillery, and the artillery basically shout very accurately against a supposed command post or at this location. So over at Bilohorivka, we don't see any information now, and no more fighting around here. We move into the Kreminna Front. At the Kreminna Front, we still have reports of Ukrainians supposedly attacking near Krychorivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. But otherwise, there is also another piece of information. It's kind of weird. The Russians say that the units of the Center Group of Forces, along with the support of airstrike artillery, neutralized targets over at Serebianka. If Serebianka is here, so it could be a case where it's just bombardments. So I'm reluctant to put it as a fighting, but typically I just put it as fighting. But this is a bit far from the front line, so just take it with a pinch of salt. As you can see, information listed about this about Serebianka is all question mark. The Russians are, however, attacking over at the Dibrova region, Torske and Nyampolivka. Information comes from the Russian Defense Ministry. We shall see if this is anything or if this is just some probing. We move on. There's nothing over at the Sviatove Front. The fighting reported at Stemakivka was not repeated. We move into the Kupyansk Front. So this is Kupyansk. At the Kupyansk Front, the Russian forces continues their Kupyansk offensive, with fighting reported at Liman Pershi, Sinkivka, as well as Ivanivka. Interestingly, there is no report, zero reports of Ukrainian forces doing their offensive. As you may remember from yesterday's SITREP, the Ukrainian forces was launching some very massive attack. This entire attack is gone. No, it's just one off, and yeah, now it's just Russians attacking. There's one geolocation near Ivanivka, which is nothing very important, just to show that they are there. And that's it from the Kupyansk Front, and that's it. Oh yeah, there's two MiG-29 got shot down. One over at Bohinivka, another one nearby just south of it at Pershotrevansk. And this is actually pretty far. It's around 70-80 kilometers away from the front line. The other one is even further. It's around 90 to 100 kilometers. So again, this report talks about Russian air defense. So I wonder if this is really S-400s. If these are S-400, then the legend and the myth that the S-400 is the most advanced air defense system in the world may actually have some credence to it. May have some thingy to it. So anyway, yeah, this is the summary for the day of 640 to the 25th. For the 25th of November. And as mentioned earlier, do check out DPA Open Mic. Subscribe over there. Check out the latest episode. I will also post videos, snippets, small the certain conversations as separate snippets as well on this channel, for those that have no patience to listen to 5 hours of chit chat. Yeah, and that's it. And I'll press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you in the next update.